I want to talk about Squid Game.
Yeah.
We should talk about Squid Game.
Yeah.
What about it?
So I think Squid Game is. I don't think it's overtly political. Apparently, you were telling me, Gary, that it was like there's like a political message in Squid Game.
Yeah, the writer, at least that's what he said.
My takeaway from it was communism bad. That was my takeaway from it. Okay, so now I'm going to say this for those that are listening. Spoiler alert: if you haven't finished Squid Game, it's an awesome show.
Yeah,
I prefer watching it in the original Korean with subtitles. I think it's fantastic. With the dub, you lose a lot of that like reverb and like natural sound. It's kind of weird. So spoiler alert, I'm going to say it again. We are going to spoil this show to
Kingdom Come.
To Kingdom Come. There we go. Spoiler alert. So what was it about? You mentioned that the creator had said something and it was like...
The creator called it a fable for modern day capitalism, but also for life and the competitiveness of life. And that message, it's not subtle at the end, which I won't ruin for anybody, but it's not subtle at the end. And that messaging was there. And, some people can't get past it. And I understand that. But I thought it was a damn good story.
But what was the messaging? Like, what do you think the message conveyed?
Well, it's a cold and cruel system. There in that fable, there is no resolution except for at the end they create their own enemy, quote unquote. But that's what I got out of it.
All right. Just for context, okay, because those of you that are sticking around, even though we told you spoilers are here, I'm going to give you the quick breakdown of the show. It's a bunch of desperate people in debt. And then all of a sudden they get an opportunity to play in a game, but the game is brutal and you die in it. But if you don't, you win. I think it's like equivalent of US like 35 to 40 million dollars is the translation. So it's like 45 billion Korean won or something. Now we're going to get into again, I warned you, spoilers. I think the whole thing is the perfect example of somebody who thinks they're opposing capitalism but just makes communism and wokeness look really, really dumb. And the show ends up being, in my opinion, more anti-communist than anything. So one of the big themes in the show is that everyone is equal. They all enter the game as equals, and they're allowed to play as equals. And there's an arc in the show where it's like somebody violates the equality, and so they kill him. And they were like, that's the worst thing you could have done is strip the equality. But now, here's how the show ends. You've been warned. In this equal system, everyone dies but one person who gets all of the money. Okay, so that doesn't sound to me like capitalism. In capitalism, we recognize not everybody is equal. Not everybody does have an equal chance. We do want equal opportunity, but some people are poor and some people are rich. In this system, everyone is wearing the same clothes in the same room, being brutalized by the powers that ultimately result in one person having all the wealth and everyone dying. That is not capitalism. In capitalism, there's too much food. People are morbidly obese, and there are homeless people who are fat. In communism, everybody wears the same clothes. They have limited access to anything. They get garbage food every day. They're like, okay, the game's over. Here's the food you get, and they get trash. Yeah. And they're fighting each other because they're starving. That, to me, is an indictment of communism. And if this guy who made the show is actually like, it's actually capitalism that's bad, I'm like, it just goes to show this is a person who made a great show but was really dumb and didn't understand they were actually critiquing communism.
It's like they took him out of a capitalistic system where they were doing pretty bad to a communistic system where they were doing really, really bad and were executed by the state, which usually happens under communism.
Right.
I mean,
for like childish whims.
Exactly, and that's literally what happens under communism. Look up, what happened in China, what happened in Russia, what happened in Europe as well. So there's a long history. There's a long context to people just being purged, taken away. Another very interesting aspect of that story is the masks that the very rich people were wearing were kind of similar to the same masks that the Rothschilds were pictured wearing at some of their private parties and galas a couple decades ago. So I saw that right away. I was like, wait, that's the elites doing this. And I thought of the movie more of a critique about the ruling elites. Because it's essentially, again, spoiler alert, rich people coming together to watch the average poor people, struggling people kill each other over money. And there's some important kind of parallels there. The series is kind of gory. So if you're sensitive to that stuff, I wouldn't watch it. I watched it. I was like, Tim, you got to watch it. You're like, but you watched it and it is very thought provoking. It is very emotional. And it definitely pulls at the heartstrings in many different ways.
I looked this up. Luke, you ain't kidding.
What is this?
There's a bunch of photos from this Rothschild's
yep.
party where they're all wearing these masks that are
heck?
similar to the Squid Game thing.
Yeah.
But that's probably what he was doing, the creator.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
a guy, right, who created it? I'm saying.
Well,
he-
the story I'm
not
hearing a lot of
misgendering
different.
the creator.
I'm hearing a lot of different reports about this guy saying that he lost a bunch of teeth because of the stress during the production of this movie. I heard that he tried to get this movie done for years and it kept getting denied. So
the series, you mean?
Yeah, the series. But yeah, I remember seeing those masks automatically thinking, wait. I saw these masks before. They're at the private gallows and private meetings of the super rich that already do take place when you do look at the very powerful people in our world that manipulate the system for their own personal benefit.
I'll put it this way. Capitalism isn't the problem. Communism doesn't exist. It's just this idealized system. We might as well call it unicornism. The real problem is corruption and corporatism.
So-
And the left says capitalism when they mean corporatism.